The state revealed today that there are no new coronavirus outbreaks at manufacturing plants in Iowa.
But KCCI wanted to know more about the state's response as the situation developed. One company at the center of the outbreaks, Tyson Foods, it temporarily closed plants in Columbus Junction, Waterloo, Perry, and Storm Lake because of COVID-19 outbreaks.
KCCI's Lauren Donovan investigated the state's response to those outbreaks and who was included in the phone calls with the governor.
Open records requests have revealed to us an important chain of emails, and after sifting through over 100 pages, I've highlighted notable contents of a correspondence between top state officials here in Iowa and corporate executives at Tyson.
Documents show representatives from local governments and labor groups were not invited to these conversations.
I think the public wants to know what kind of conversation was going on between the company and the governor's office.
On April 22nd, Tyson revealed more than 200 employees at its Waterloo plant tested positive for COVID-19. An open records request reveals that very same day, a call was planned for 4 p.m. to, quote, have a call with the Tyson folks to see how we can help, but also want to talk with them about things they should think about. Included in the email is Beth Townsend, the Iowa Workforce Development Director, Debbie Durham, the Iowa Economic Development Authority's Executive Director, Jake Swanson, Governor Reynolds' Policy Director. All have refused on-camera interviews. Only their attorneys have responded to me. And according to the attorneys representing these government officials, not a single note was taken by their clients in these high-level meetings. So there's no public record of what was said. Also listed as an attendee is lobbyist Matt Ide. Tyson is one of his clients. FollowTheMoney.org found evidence that Ide and his wife donated thousands of dollars to the Reynolds campaign in 2018.
A campaign contribution does represent that a relationship exists or is desired, and that's true no matter really the size of the contribution.
But Ide wasn't the only meeting attendee that opened their pockets to the governor. An agenda revealed two top Tyson executives also on the call gave hundreds to Governor Reynolds in 2018.
It doesn't mean that there is a quid pro quo or even an ask for one or anything like that. This really is about the circles in politics and how small they are.
A spokesperson for Governor Reynolds responded that she was never made aware of these campaign contributions. Her office did not directly answer all of my questions, but provided this repeatedly in writing. Quote, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor and her team have been in regular contact with food manufacturers and employers across the state of Iowa. The goal of these conversations is to maintain the food supply chain, protect employees, and ensure companies have the testing they need.
Public health officials ought to be hearing from all parties and not just selected ones.
Randy Evans, executive director of the Iowa Freedom of Information Council, says local authorities like mayors and county representatives deserve a seat at the table, as well as those advocating for factory workers.
The governor's office has broader responsibility than just to the corporate citizens.
We need her to change her priorities.
Joe Henry represents the League of United Latin American Citizens in Iowa, also known as LULAC. He says approximately half of all factory workers in the state are Latino. Since the pandemic began, he says his organization has never been included in any such conversation.
Placing people first. That's what the governor ran on when she ran for office. And to not put people first is very disheartening.
Reporting in Des Moines, Lauren Donovan, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Tyson says it has taken a number of measures to keep their plant workers safe, including temperature checks, face coverings, and dividers between workstations. The governor's office also tells us they have been in regular contact with not just Tyson, but a number of companies impacted by the coronavirus outbreak. We have a list of those companies in our web story at kcci.com.